right, you primitive screwheads, listen up. Boomstick! Boomstick! Primitive screwhead. Boomstick! Primitive screwhead. Boomstick! Listen up.
Welcome to
Ash
versus.
Can't do it the other way around. Okay, no, let's try.
All right, let's try. Okay, ready? Welcome to
Ash
versus
Evil Dead
versus
Bubba
versus
Catfish.
Groovy, baby.
Oh man,
How was that? Mixing it up.
oh yeah.
This is the Ash versus Evil Dead versus Bubba versus Catfish podcast, and today we are breaking down season 3, episode 7, entitled "Twist and Shout," and also
Twist
get
and
killed a
shout.
lot.
Come on, come on, come on, Ashy now.
As usual, I am your host, Catfish. You can hit me up at CJGman67 on Twitter, and with me, as always, the less handsome Ash, the dumbass double,
Wait, what?
Bubba. Bubba,
Hey.
how's it going?
Hey, I'm doing great. Everybody, you can find me on Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, and YouTube at Fit and Trim. That's FITTENTRIM at Fit and Trim on Twitter. That's right. Season 3, Episode 7, Catfish. After this episode, there are only 4 more episodes left in this season.
Did I miscount?
Yes, you did.
I said seasons 3, episode 7.
Right. So there's episode 8, 9, 10, and 10.
Okay, so somebody might be right and somebody might be wrong, but we won't get into that. Instead, we'll first give our ratings for this episode. Bubba, I'm the one who usually gives my rating for the episode first.
Good. So let's keep it that way.
All right. Too much change is no good. Well, there's a lot going on in this episode.
There is.
Okay, so here's what I started with. I started with 6
Okay.
because I don't, I've never liked the Brandy, Mandy, Candy, is Ash evil or is he not evil, so I was frustrated at the beginning. But then she died, so I bumped it up to a 10.
Oh, no.
But then I realized no one's ever dead on this show. We're going to see her again, so I dropped it down to, so I gave it 8.
8.
What I like to call triple W's.
Triple W's?
Yeah. You remember, it's the Williams Weed Warehouse, also known as the high school.
Hey.
Because he's hiding joints all over that place.
Aw.
At least he did in the past. So, Bubba, what about you? What's your rating for this episode?
Well, you took me on such a whirlwind. I'm still confused. It was 8 out of 10?
It's 8. It ends up as 8. 6 to 10, down to 8.
Okay. Well, that's very interesting that you did that, Catfish, because
Yes?
what did you give last week's episode?
Am I supposed to remember last week?
It would help, yes. It's only once a week here, Catfish. You gave it an 8, and last week I gave the episode a 7.
Right?
So this week you once again gave Ash vs. Evil Dead an 8.
Yes.
And I give Ash vs. Evil Dead 7 double P's out of 10.
Double P's?
Pussy Pablos. Pablo could have blown out Evil Kaya's head. He didn't. And because of that, and because of this...
That would have given Kelly no body to come back to. You want to let that body get killed?
It's been stabbed. It's been through a lot.
It has been,
That
but
body's
it's still
gonna
a
need some time at the
perfectly
spa.
good body.
And so because this episode seems to be setting up something on one hand I love and another hand I'm not so sure about, I'm only 7 out of 10. This episode took a while to build up to the real fun stuff.
It really
and
did.
there were some fun moments. But because the build-up took a little longer than we're used to on just a half-hour show, I'm only 7 out of 10.
Well, it's funny you say that because as I was watching the show, I thought, where are the lines for our groovy line of the week? And then they all happened right at the very end. There was about 4 of them that happened bam, 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 bam. And so I felt the same as you, that I was like, oh, we're back into this. But also, afterwards, I thought to myself, geez, they've been working on this baby for the whole series.
Yep, you're going exactly where I'm going. Keep going. Yeah.
And even though we want to have things go to the end, they treated the Ash, the Ash doppelganger, like a Deadite of the Week. They basically dispatched him in one episode.
Yeah, it wasn't a Deadite of the week. It was more like a weak Deadite. Who, one shot to the head, make that 2 shots to the head. Hey, you missed. And he was gone. And after all that setup for him to quote unquote...
The entire season.
For him to go out that easy, I took that very difficultly. And so my Deadite of the week, Catfish, is somebody who really stood out in this episode.
Oh, man, the way you're looking at me, I feel like you are going to steal my Deadite of the Week.
All right.
I will bet you $5 you're about to steal my Deadite of the Week. Go ahead.
Okay, so my Deadite of the Week, we had Evil Ruby.
Right.
Evil Ruby up on stage there at the Winter Ball dance.
You're just setting me up, I know.
And she drops down the banner to say R.I.P. to Brandy's mom, Candace Barr, and to Rachel Manning. And I saw those two, and the school, wanted to take a moment to mourn those two who the school lost. And my Deadite of the Week went unmentioned. Coogie. How in the hell can you have a memorial at a dance for people who've recently died? One of them wasn't even a student, but a student's mother, Candace Barr.
Right.
And then, sure, okay, Rachel Manning deserves her memorial. But what happened to Coogie? What happened to the guy who plays Coogie who died? They didn't mention him at all at the dance. And in his honor, R.I.P. Coogie is my Deadite of the Week.
Wow. Okay, you know what? I really thought you were going to go there, but you did not go to my Deadite of the Week.
Oh.
All right. Because I actually treat you as my Hefe.
Okay.
I like to follow sometimes in your vein. So for me, there was only one person who stood out this week.
Okay, I can't wait to hear this one.
And that is Deputy Masters. Following in the footsteps of Sheriff Emery.
He was trained well.
Deputy Masters is my Deadite of the Week.
Now, explain to everybody what Deputy Masters did powerfully in this episode, Catfish.
Well, he powerfully, momentarily subdued Ash, the real Ash.
He delayed any action or excitement from happening. And I thought that was brave of the deputy to do that. And so maybe I should also give him Deadite of the Week, because by preventing any action to happen, he did a great job.
Yeah, he's definitely a Deadite in waiting. There's no doubt about it. Deputy Masters, I'm so proud to know you. So, all right, so that was your Deadite of the Week. What was your groovy line of the week?
I think it was me just naming Coogie Deadite of the Week. But Catfish, because you always go first, take it away. What's yours? You first.
Well, no, because I'm gonna clean up the board here. So by the time I'm done, there's gonna be nothing left. Give me your groovy line of the week, and then I'll clean it up as always.
All right. So mine was, I love you, Dad. Only because it was so funny when she said that. She sealed her character's fate. You know what I mean? I told you several podcasts ago that Brandy existed so that she would die. Now, admittedly, there seems to be some wonkiness going on in the quote-unquote upside-down part of Deer Elk, or Elk Meadow, Elk Grove, whatever this is in Michigan.
Elk Grove, yes.
But because she said, I love you, Dad, and that meant she had to die, Brandy gets my groovy line of the week.
All right. Well, before we got to the end and there was a whole bunch, I was picking some out. One I kind of alluded to earlier, where Ash says it's just another dumbass double, which makes it a true double. Pablo's weak attempt at the line was, aha, the real Kelly and I did kiss, and it was awesome.
No, brother. I'm going to need secondary confirmation of that, Bob.
A very funny line was when Ruby impaled herself on the chainsaw to set her evil plan in motion.
Oh, yeah, that was
And
good.
Ash says, when did you start liking this?
Yeah, I did like that. That was good.
Afterwards, when Pablo finally does show up, Ash says, Pablo, you missed a great party. And then he does say to the evil Ash, get out of my jazz, which I liked. But the best one was...
The best groovy line of the week. Let's hear it.
It was when his daughter was like, oh, my God, there is another double for you. And he says, yeah. Ruby went to Kandari and Kinko's, and this asshole popped up. That is my groovy line of the week.
Man,
well, before we get into...
It took a while to get to those, but once again, I feel bad that I'm being so tough on this episode. But there were a lot of fun things that happened, admittedly, later in the episode, which I want to talk about.
Yeah, it was super fun at the end, and there was a point made that I thought was really interesting that we can kind of follow up on, even though it was used in the wrong way. But someone was right about something. Before we do that...
Yeah, who cares about what we think?
Yeah, well, nobody. That's why we have one loyal listener for this podcast. And who is that?
Patman23.
Patman23, Pat Venego?
Well, let's say to all our wonderful listeners.
Yes.
We're recording this much earlier than we usually do. In fact, the episode technically hasn't, quote-unquote, aired aired yet on Starz. Starz has been great about letting people download the episodes of Ash vs. Evil Dead really early. It's almost like a Netflix thing where at midnight, once the clock strikes midnight on Saturday night / Sunday, 12:01 a.m., you can download it.
It seems like it's
great.
getting early and early. Well, I have it set to auto-record, and this morning it auto-recorded at 7:22 in the morning. They're making it more available to us.
Yeah, so we are recording this podcast technically. I just wanted to bring up the clock. We're recording it about 5.5 hours before it will actually air on the East Coast of the United States here on Starz.
Yeah. So it's not just that we're seeing the future. Starz is helping us see the future. And a way that you can help other people see the future that we see.
We love it.
Is to comment on our Facebook page. We have a Facebook page at facebook.com/double P podcast. That's the word double, the letter P, and then the word podcast. When you're on there, please make sure to leave all your personal information so it can be sold all around the world.
To the Russians.
Yeah. And the other way you can do it is, you can leave us a review on iTunes or Stitcher or Twitch.
Well, Catfish, what you're talking about is
Yes.
we are available on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play Music, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and YouTube.
Wow.
Whichever way you are cool enough to download or listen to this podcast, let us know. Go to our Facebook page, facebook.com/double P podcast. Now, let me say that this week, Catfish, actually just a couple days ago, I got an email from somebody from Libsyn, which hosts our podcast, saying, hey, we have advertising opportunities if you want to have an ad on your podcast for e-cigarettes, e-cigs.
Oh, man, that is so cool. The kids have learned that is cool, and it doesn't cause you any problems whatsoever. Wait, are they paying us yet?
They're not paying us. In other words, we don't even have to approve e-cigs. We would just play the ad and we would get money. So we're going to go a little bit behind the scenes here at the Double P Podcast Network and say that I can't remember if it's $8 or $10 a month we're paying to host this podcast, but then say it's 10 just to round up a bit and make the math easier. That's $120 a year times 3. That's who knows how much. Ask Ash.
$360.
I doubt it. Let's get a calculator to confirm. And so we could run these ads for e-cigs. I have to be honest, I don't use e-cigs. I don't judge anybody if they smoke or use e-cigs. But in a perfect world, I would not want our first advertisement to be for e-cigs. So all I'm asking listeners is do go to our Facebook page, facebook.com/double P podcast. That's the word double, the single letter P, the word podcasts, plural. Go there and just say anything. Even
Tell us what your favorite e-cig is.
Right. Just so, and then we'll feel good that we didn't have any ads or anything. This week, once again, one of our true Double L loyal listeners, Pat Spinagle, did give us feedback. And so we want to give him a shout out. And all of you guys who are kind enough to listen in all the ways you can listen.
So Pat Spinagle says, I think the rationale for the Knights of Sumeria wanting to take the fight to the Dark Ones in the Deadlands might be similar to, as described by the old Dungeons & Dragons game books, the situation that killing demons and devils here on Earth just banishes them back to hell, but killing them in the infernal realm destroys them forever.
Whoa.
And then he qualifies it by saying, again, I am just quoting D&D rules. Okay, are you afraid you're going to get sued, Pat? Because, listen, your word is good enough for me.
We like it, Pat.
Yeah, I think that's a great thought. I'm buying that.
I see it too, and it seems like what they're setting up. I joked earlier that I called it the upside down of Elk Meadow. I keep screwing
Elk
it up.
Grove.
Elk Grove, Michigan.
That's where Candy Mandy Brandy lives.
Well, I keep screwing it up because the name of the county now has become the name of the high school, and so I'm always trying to see, okay, wait, this is called this, and this is called this. Anywho, yeah, I think that makes sense, but then because they have this spectral realm, Catfish, does this imply that many of the characters we've seen die this year, like Candace Barr, like Rachel Manning, like Kelly, they could come back? We can save them, like Dalton, even.
Well, here's the difference, is that Candy and Kelly were killed with the Kandarian dagger. And so, because of that, it seems as if their spirit was captured and sent to that realm. So I don't think, just if you to say something that randomly happens to a lot of people in this world, if you got impaled on deer horns that were up on the wall, I don't think you'd necessarily be able to be saved again.
But hasn't the show contradicted that already, Catfish? When Ash, who was the first one to kind of see that realm into this, what I call the upside down, or whatever you want to call this realm of the evil dark ones and demons is, he saw Rachel Manning, a.k.a. the first evil Deadite, Brandy's friend, and she got killed almost like the shark in Jaws got killed, where Dalton shot something into her mouth and then Kelly shot it with a bullet and it blew up. And so she didn't get killed with the dagger. I don't even want to try to say Kandarian dagger. Kandarian dagger. And so when Ash first saw that realm, he was seeing her, Rachel Manning, a.k.a. blonde cheerleader / friend of Brandy. So I think we could be set up to where a lot of these quote-unquote recognizable characters are brought back. I mean, how did Dalton die? He didn't die from a dagger, did he?
No, he did not. But I think that's kind of a spoiler alert, though, for next week. But the real question this raises is it possible that we're going to see Sheriff Emery again?
Of course. That's the only reason why I'm so obsessed with it.
Everybody's left. All right, well... So let's go through the rest of the episode itself. We talked a little bit about it. And as you've said, it's not just that there wasn't a lot of action, but it felt like it was a little bit of marking time. And there's kind of an interesting split between the real Ash, personality split between the real Ash and the other Ash that I want to break down in our case of the week. So let's kind of stay a little bit away from that.
I can't wait. But how about this? If this isn't a case of the week, the episode begins with Kellykaya, however we call Kellykaya. She is there in the house. She's got the dagger. She has a chance to stab Ash when he's not looking. She has many chances to have killed Brandy, and yet she hasn't. Does this quote-unquote prophecy mean that this Kinko's Ash has to be the one to kill these two? Why hasn't Kellykaya killed these two in the Williams household?
Well, originally I thought it was because it was supposed to be the other Ash to kill Ash. Ashy Nashy was going to kill Ashy Slashy.
Right.
But then near the end of the episode, it seems like I don't know whether this was just a last-second audible by Ruby, but then her plan is to get Candy to kill Ash.
Yeah, there's so many crazy things going on. How about this? Why does Brandy want to go to a dance? I mean, she looks great dressed up. I'm glad she looks so great. I'm glad she looks no way young enough to be still in high school. But why, if your best friend and your mom were killed, you want to say in the last month to be generous, why are you going to the winter ball? And it doesn't seem you have a boyfriend to meet there, so what's going on here, Brandy Bar?
What you don't understand is that it's outside the high school dance where all the kids hang out and smoke their e-cigarettes.
Okay. That must be it.
Damn it, I want that money.
Okay, sorry, Catfish. Didn't realize you wanted this money so much. All right, so they're going to a dance. In the post-show little scene that they gave, Rob Tappert, producer of these Evil Dead films and Ash vs. Evil Dead, said this episode was heavily inspired by Carrie. Great idea to do an episode with. And he also talked about how many horror films are set in high schools. And so that's a great idea. Back at Ruby's evil haunted house, we see the rebirth of Ashy Nashy as grown man Ash. And one thing that I actually didn't see coming, she's like, grown man Ash, you've got to be a complete double. So this creepy faux chainsaw in your hand, that's not going to work. We're going to totally cut it off. Whoa.
Right. And then, but when you say we, what she means is you're going to have to do it, buddy.
Yeah, she didn't want to help. Now, did the mirror actually crack when Ashy Nashy looked at himself?
It's funny because what would you assume that means is, well, it's sort of weird the way this Ashy Nashy was created. So I guess that's why the chainsaw, the partial chainsaw, was included in his body. But it is funny. I mean, we don't have to totally stay away from it, but it is funny that since this Ash has gone through sort of accelerated growth, he's still a little childish.
Oh, yeah. Do I have to, Mommy? It's okay. It's okay, new Ashy Nashy.
It's a little dirty.
It'll scab over. Oh, terrible. Meanwhile, at the Williams hardware store, a certain still living character named Zoe is still alive.
Me a little bit?
She's still alive.
She's only here for like 1 minute. It's just not fair. It's not fair.
She's still alive. In the first 15 minutes of this episode, she's still alive.
It's only because she's such a coward, because she just decides to hang out in the basement.
Better there than anywhere else. Now, Pablo sees this window into this nether realm that Ash saw before, But instead, Ash, I keep mentioning, saw the friend of Brandy's, Rachel Manning. Kelly says, hey, Pablo, guess what? I screwed up. Whoa. Hardcore, huh?
Yeah, she brought the Kandarian dagger right to Ruby, who needed it. There's a point of view change in the as Pablo's looking through. At first, I thought she walked right up to the wall, and he goes to see the wall, but he sees her, and then the point of view changes, and it's like pulled far away. Apparently, you can do a lot of adjusting to your portal.
Right. Well, when you flip the lens, you're like, give me a different lens here. Now, Kelly, when she's talking to Pablo, she implies there's some evil beast in whatever you want to call this realm, upside down realm where she is. She hears it, and then she's like, Pablo, I can't talk to you too much longer. I got to run. And, ooh, that's not good. Whatever beasts, whatever dark ones, whatever demons, monsters, you name it, is in this mystical realm where Kelly seems to have been trapped. Not good.
Well, it's good for those of us who like to see Kelly. I know you like Kelly. You were earlier you were arguing you want dead to be dead, but come on, we got to have Kelly.
Oh, my Lord. Oh, my Lord. Well, are we going to get to the point where nobody's dead because we can pull them out of this realm? We shall see.
Well, presumably, if we're going to go by D&D rules, if somebody gets killed in this realm, they're just pure D dead, which I think we're going to find out.
Can I say that I feel terrible? I did not play D&D when I was a kid. I'll turn in my geek cred immediately.
Man. Oh, no, I did. Loved it. I actually had a friend who had probably about, inch and a half tall figurine that had a wizard on it, and the wizard had 3 marbles in his hands, and my friend had a double 0 paintbrush and painted the marbles 3 different colors.
Oh, dang.
Yeah, he's serious. Now, when they get to the dance, I love the song for, we've talked about this a few times before. They've really stepped up their game as far as the songs for this show goes.
Oh, yeah.
And the song was Party Till You Die. It's a good song. You didn't have to hit me over the head with it. I figured people would die, although I didn't know it was going to be as awesome as this. Even though we didn't really have a Deadite this week, it's just awesome to see bratty teenagers just getting hacked up.
Hey, Kenward High here in Kenward County, home of the Cougars. Hell yeah. Now, have you ever gone to a dance where you brought a parent or an older person? In high school, this is really awkward. So it's not bad enough that Brandy doesn't seemingly have a date. Her mom just died. But even walking in with Kelly, I think it's a little awkward. People are going to say, who's the narc? You know what I mean?
Well, it's still hard to understand. I mean, I think Ashy Slashy was, people were like all in on Ashy Slashy. He was when he gave him the drugs last year. Seeing some of these kids might remember he's a partier.
So they're off to the dance because your Deadite of the Week, that Double D, Deputy Deadite, made Ash sneak around back. This looks like no high school party I went to. Look at how there's great kind of awkward dubstep music.
First, they're letting I don't know.
They're letting people go crazy. It's so dark.
They're letting a kid DJ it. I don't know. That would seem to be unsafe to me. Who knows what kind of music he could play? But so we do know we have danger because now we've got Brandy. And she's hanging out with who we know is Kellykaya. But first, we get introduced to 2 kids who find weed that Ash has stashed. And I thought
behind a sprinkler head, right?
I thought it was a great callback to earlier.
But as soon as this character steps out, this Xerox Ash, Ashy Nashy, I got to give Bruce Campbell some credit. He's differentiating them both physically. Ashy Nashy / Xerox Ash. He steps up. His posture's a bit straighter. He's stiffer. Then when he begins to talk to the kids and warn them about the dangers of the gateway drug, Mary Jane, you know that these kids are doomed. But they actually like Ashy Nashy because they're like, man, we love your commercials. You're going to slash prices?
Well, I mean, you say they love them, but I think they're mocking him.
Oh, come on. You know there's an L.A. local commercial here in Los Angeles where your mattress is free. If we ran into that guy at our high school dance, we'd be like, yeah, come on, tell us about Sealy, Serta, Simmons,
oh my God,
Posturepedic mattresses. We'd love it. And these kids really get got by Ashy Nashy. There's this weird cross-cutting / entertaining cross-cutting between the dance and everybody jumping and having fun, and these kids just spilling blood from the chainsaw. Always horrific. Horrific.
Yeah, it is. And you know what? It's funny when you say it took a while to get to stuff. We're really not that far into the episode.
Yeah, we're just
like
8 minutes in.
Just, not even a third in, but somehow it still felt as if, and maybe it's because of the waiting for Brandy to find out that Ash was, because I thought we'd already gotten over that point, and then I was worried that we were going to get to that point again. And now I think this has finally sealed the deal. She got stabbed by Ruby. I think she'll finally not fall for Mrs. Brevin anymore. Okay, all right.
Catfish, I want to go a bit further, and this is a writer Bubba Gives Notes section right here in the middle.
Okay.
So let's hear that theme song, which I hear you've totally switched it up since last week. So let's hear it.
There's a rider out there. Where? He's way out there. Where? What's his name? His name is Bubba, and he's got some notes. What? He's got some notes. He's got some rider notes. Oh, there's rider notes. That's Bubba. Rider giving notes. Oh, yeah.
Okay. We will never have a theme song again. We're just going to go with a straight slate. We'll put that up. Everybody will know it's Writer Bubba Kids Notes section. So you're asking...
I mean, the song needed another 10 minutes to bake. I didn't realize it was happening
we totally baked. Totally baked for
It was
sure.
only half-baked.
I think if you were half-baked, you wouldn't enjoy it. You needed to be fully baked to
like
enjoy
those
that.
kids.
Right, and so let's get to those kids, Catfish.
Okay.
You were saying, hey, this is a lot of action. We're only 8 minutes in. Here these kids are being attacked by Xerox Ash. Why isn't it tense? Why wasn't it as fun? The cross-cutting, I thought, was the only thing that gave it any kind of pulse. The producer, Rob Tappert, talked about this. He was saying, this is based on Carrie, which admittedly I haven't seen, but I understand the plot points of Carrie.
What?
But also, these horror films, all these horror films set in a high school. The killer doesn't just come up, hey, how you doing? Talk to them for 30 seconds, and then kill them as they don't even run away. Part of the thrill of these slasher films is the kids running away, the kids being scared, the kids being tortured. These kids didn't have time to be scared. They didn't have time to run away. They didn't have time to kind of do anything other than die. Last week, we talked about how you got to set it up to the fireworks factory. Here, we're 8 minutes in. We have two stoned kids getting sliced up by a chainsaw, but it doesn't have that punch. It doesn't have the thrills. It doesn't have the anything that those 80s horror movies had.
Right.
Other than the gore.
You get to the end.
Other than the gore. Now,
and even though we don't know them, even at the end, it's crazy because it's bedlam and it's just craziness.
Right.
But I agree.
And they've built
the two
to
people,
it. Yeah. No, the end. So writer Bubba is going to give nothing but positive notes to the end of this episode. Once we get to the dance, once things start going, even though they're negative things in that, like the waste, or, okay, we've built up all this time to Xerox Ashy, and now he's gone. Ashy Nashy's gone. But it's the build-up in the end of this episode where the writing really sings. This 8-minute section where the two stoned kids got not strong enough. That's writer Bubba Gives Notes. Hey!
Writer Bubba
No. Put up the slate. We're fine.
No.
No, let's keep going. So Ruby comes out on stage. Brandy still wants to believe her, questions her. What do you think Brandy's thinking when she sees this woman on stage?
Well, listen, I've hated the storyline all season, but if you're going to do it, sell it. Just like with Ashy Nashy, give us a whole episode or 2 episodes where Brandy's actively working against Ash. It's something they've set up all season. So they set up 2 things all season, and then they pretty much get rid of them all in one, presumably to set up the last 3 episodes in the Down Under. So, I mean, even though I hated it, a lot of people are loving it, and it seems a waste to throw away what you've built up on. But what she's thinking is, I was really looking forward to a daddy-daughter dance.
Let me also say that just in the world of the show, this really ruined the dance. Remember the crazy dance that the kids were doing? They were having fun. They were going crazy. It's not going to be much of a party afterwards, after we have this memorial. And then everybody's like, oh, yeah, people have been brutally died. All right, let's turn the house music back up. Party! Let's go. Whoa, whoa.
Yeah, and if they're going to make it more like, can't just set something in a high school and say it's like Carrie. Do something else.
No, well, I think it is like Carrie. It's got a big dance. There's a lot of blood.
Well, you know what? I saw Carrie's, and you don't just know the plot. So I'm going to go with my feelings about Carrie as opposed to yours because I'm just still scandalized that you haven't seen it.
Keep being scandalized. I'm not old enough to have seen Carrie. And I mean the remake. Now, let's get this right again. The good guy, Ash, He sneaks in the back door. He comes across this bloody scene. He realizes, oh, snap, trouble is on. This is a bad sign. Xerox Ash, he made a mess of stuff. And what's great is when Xerox Ash later sees Brandy, he's not totally covered in blood like he should be. Brandy can kind of hug him and say, "Oh, Daddy, I love you." What? Huh?
Yeah.
Catfish, do you want to add to this audio podcast here?
It's just, he does. There's a funny bit when he sees the arm. That's when he knows there's trouble. And so he gears up, puts on his chainsaw arm, and he puts the cup in, which I appreciate. Always got to protect that, because if you're going to go to the store to make deposits and make money off of it, you need to protect the boys.
Now, Ash gets a look at his doppelganger, his demon self.
Right, Kinko's Ash.
Kinko's Ash. And you just think to yourself, this should be when it gets on. But even this, it isn't really on because of the work of your Deadite of the Week to the deputy. We think, all right, here, just once again, let's see exactly how far into the show we are. 11 minutes. The two Ashes have come together. Even if you were going to kill Xerox Ash, you could have 18 more minutes of fun, exciting Ash versus Ash goodness. But instead, fun's got to stop with the deputy arresting good boy Ash.
Well, I see what they're trying to do here, because they want to save it's kind of a clever plan to set up the real Ash. And so I like that part of it. But even then, the fight at the end was not as good as I want it to be.
The one positive I'll say about dividing them up and allowing the deputy to kind of separate the two is I think the best moments in this episode is how many different people with different motives are going on one against the other. You have Ash coming up and confiding in Kelly, not realizing that it's Kellykaya. You have Brandy coming up to Xerox Ash and confiding in him. The fact that there's so many kind of wheels spinning within wheels, I actually love that part of it and wish they could have kept going. Like, hey, let's have this go, let's have that go. And yet, for some reason, as we're going to get to at the very end, we say goodbye to Xerox Ash. And in many ways, we say goodbye to anybody trusting Kellykaya and Ruby ever again.
It's so sad, because I feel like they're two strong, independent women who've been besmirched. But they're also evil killers.
Oh, I thought you meant the two that got killed by Xerox Ash. I thought, what? Oh.
And then we have, again, this, for me, it's nothing here getting Kelly and Ruby to turn Brandy against Ash, when in the end she's going to have only really a few minutes of doubt and then be turned back to Ash's side and then actually save him.
Well, Kellykaya and Ruby, they do try. Kellykaya, as soon as they arrive at the dance, Kellykaya is whispering things like, there's something different about your dad. What is it? I just can't place it. And then here Ruby, in the guise of the nice guidance counselor, they're setting him up.
Right, and here she's very clear. Ruby says, as soon as Brandy kills Ash, then it's going to be all set. So the idea was not for Ashy Nashy to kill Ash, for Brandy to kill Ash, because for some reason that does something more than just anyone killing Ash.
It's crueler. It's crueler if Ruby's really a demon and wants to kill him the cruelest way.
But I think, at a certain point, I think she just wants things done the fastest way.
No, she doesn't. She could have had Kellykaya kill either of them.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's why I think she's got a purpose for that, for Brandy to kill Ash, and then the Ashy Nashy isn't the one who was supposed to kill Ash. Ashy Nashy is supposed to take his place to
become the prophesized one from the book, that he'll become, according to her own words, the savior. And then Ruby says she will have dominion over the Dark Ones. And that'll be enough to free the real Kaya from the hell she's trapped in. Maybe Kaya is trapped in this place where Kelly has been trapped, I think is the most likely explanation you can take from what the show is giving us.
Right. So she does say the prophecy from the book. I guess no one's read that part.
Well,
it's never been mentioned before.
Well, they're missing pages. Who's to say that this specific prophecy Ruby's read, maybe the Knights of Samaria have a different one? Brandy's very confused. She goes looking for Dad, and she runs into Xerox Ash. Xerox Ash, he, I assume, knows the plan from Ruby, so he doesn't kill Brandy.
Right. He does know the plan, but he's just got to appear evil enough. So also he's going to drop little hints like, yes, I'm evil.
Right.
As if it wasn't enough for Ruby to drop it, for Kelly to drop it, he says, yeah, I'm bad.
I'm bad. I'm bad. Really, really bad.
So this is where we see, since everyone is dropping hints, Brandy needs to be hit over the head with things. Ash is bad.
And he stretches his mouth out to show he's truly ashy-nashy. Flip back to the other side. We've got the deputy about to do some things, about to finally get his revenge on
My hero.
evil Ash. Yeah, of course he is. Ash is saying, don't worry, buddy. Michigan doesn't have the death penalty. When Kellykaya comes up and frees him, what is going on? It has to be Brandy to kill Ash. And so Kellykaya is even willing to save good Ash just so he can be killed by the right person.
I mean, this whole section, I was just like, let's just get to it. We know what we need to do. It's not so much fun to me. Let's just get to it. I'm sorry.
No, you're not sorry. You aren't sorry in any way.
No, you're absolutely right.
Brandy is gone crazy. Kellykaya has gone crazy. Kids throughout the school keep seeing people brutally murdered.
But they still hang out.
Yeah, they still want to get selfies with it and Snapchats with it. Snapchat at Fit and Trim on Snapchat.
So finally, when how far are we into the episode where we really get into, okay, we're 60 minutes into the episode. So it's sort of a little bit past halfway through, although the episode probably itself was only about 24 minutes long. Then we finally see Brandy has a realization and she's ready to come to Ruby, her savior.
Right. And so Ruby starts off by killing somebody in her Mrs. Previtt guide.
Right.
Brandy sees that, and Brandy's beginning to go, what in the world is going on? Oh, my God. Ruby implies that this student that she just snapped the neck of was killed by Ash. It is all coming together. It is all revving up.
It seemed a little excessive.
It is. Well, how about when Ashy comes in? He just has no help but to start slashing people with his chainsaw.
And finally, it gets good.
This is the horror movie from the 80s. This is when it really kicks off. This is when it really gets great. DJ's still rocking great tunes. Evil Ashy-Nashy, Xerox Ash, he's just cutting down people left and right. This is the horror movie tropes that you want to see.
It's a prom to remember.
It isn't a prom. It's a winter solstice dance, dude.
Oh, well, I'm going to remember it as prom.
I don't think you'll even remember it. You can't remember things you said last week. All these things are happening. No kids are rushing up to stop him, and Ash is just brutally killing high schoolers.
Well, also, when I think about what their plan is their plan is we're going to have Evil Ash take care of business, and then Evil Ash goes and hides.
Right. He's got to hide out forever because the whole town will want him dead after what happened at this dance.
Right, and then Brandy has to kill him, even though we don't know how exactly. Why would Ruby think that Brandy could kill Ash?
She's got a dagger. Just one hit with that dagger and you're gone.
Yeah, but she thinks that
Brandy can get close enough to Ash. She has somehow worked it so that Brandy and Ash have become close. It could work. But first, before we get that, we have to get to Pablo. Once again, here's Pablo talking to Kellykaya.
Right.
And he doesn't know what's going on. Even though he had that vision, he's like, wait a minute, why are you here? You told me you were dead. Pablo, I think, gets information a bit too easily. You know, as soon as he touches the evil Ash, he knows, okay, you're the evil one. Here, he's with Kellykaya. And this is where I said he was double P, Pussy Pablo. He didn't blow her away. Similarly, I guess you could say a couple episodes ago, to when Kelly was unwilling to kill Pablo. Pablo repays the favor here, unwilling to blow the head off of
Yeah, I feel like
Kellykaya.
you're a little harsh here. These two have a connection, and you're okay with them making them permanently dead.
Did Ash in the Evil Dead films have to kill his own sister?
Yeah.
Okay, then how can you not be on my side, one who claims to be an Evil Dead
That was
lover?
a movie. This is a TV series,
Oh,
and presumably
my
we want these
Lord.
characters to stick around.
Gosh, oh, you big wimp.
And then Ruby's going to stand up and pretend that she is the hero, and she's going to stand up. And so Ashy-Nashy leaves, and here comes Evil Ash. I guess they baited him into this. Now, one thing I do have to say,
Yeah?
Ruby says something here that she's absolutely right about. She says, this is all Ash's fault.
Yes. Well, you could say that in any season, any episode, any movie. It would be true.
Yeah, absolutely. But I just wanted to point that out. In the end, it's Ash's fault.
Fair enough. This episode is good. You always talk about them cross-cutting action. Here you've got Pablo about to wimp out from killing Kelly. But you've also got Brandy with the dagger facing her father thinking he's an evil killer. This is the moment when it's getting to be the gonzo stuff that I love. Pablo, he couldn't kill Kelly the way Kelly couldn't kill him. And then, though, when Kellykaya gets the gun, she is a real bad shot. She had several attempts to kill old Pablo, missed him every time.
Well, she's still getting used to this body.
Oh, yeah, sorry. You know what? I didn't realize excuses were okay for demons.
Yeah, you can either have an excuse or you can have a job as a demon. You can't have both.
Right. Hello, you're an evil demon. Oh, I'm not used to this body. Terrible.
This, though, was my favorite part of the whole
This, you
episode,
mean where Ruby
impales
comes up.
herself on the chainsaw.
I loved this part. This was my favorite
She's
part,
got
too.
a great look on her face. Like, yes, this is all working out the way I planned. And the blood's going everywhere. That was finally so good. I loved it. And when Ash says, I didn't know you, when did you start liking this?
Right. So good. I feel like it gets resolved too easily.
For sure, the whole thing happens too easily, but it is, and Ruby has her great death monologue. Stop him, whatever, and then of course, Brandy can't do it because she's no real Ashy Slashy.
She's
Just
not
like
a member
you
of the
said,
Ghost Beaters.
Just like you said, Ash, when he had to, took care of his sister. Brandy, she can't take care of her father.
Yeah, she
cannot be a
can't
ghost
join the
beater.
Ghost Beaters.
And now I'm not sure why she wouldn't do it. She's
why
seen
wouldn't she do
it? Be an evil demon, and she's had maybe 3 good experiences with him.
That seems a little high.
One of which was him expressing amazement that you can toast Pop-Tarts. And so I'm not sure why, we haven't really built the fact that she should really love him.
True. But when she says, I love you, Dad, and I can't kill you, Dad, doesn't that prove you have to kill her? As soon as she said it, my point from earlier this season of Brandy exists so she could die, it started just ringing alarm bells in my head. It started going, she's dead. She's dead. Did you know she would be dead?
I didn't know she would be dead because I was still shocked about how easily dispatched Ashy Nashy was. He's just gone.
Well, let's talk about that now. How can you set up a character for so long and then toss him away? And here I keep saying so long, so long. Let's review season 3. Season 3, Ruby cuts her own hand, puts the blood on the Necronomicon, puts the blood into her mouth. Next thing you know, she's writhing on the floor in the first episode with, something's going on in her stomach. You can tell that. By the second episode, she kidnaps those hitchhikers. It's for the baby. We understand. The baby, gets born in the second episode. Right. So here in episode 7, the baby, at fully grown, dies. To me, it does feel a bit early, but the biggest thing about it, in my opinion, is when did they have the most fun with this kid? They had the most fun with Ashy Nashy in one episode with the character who Ash kept calling Heidi the Hitchhiker.
Right.
They didn't ever approach that much fun with evil Ash and regular Ash confronting each other.
Right.
And they could have and should have. This is a great setup. Now, yes, you've had Ash seemingly be evil before in Evil Dead 2, but help me out. In the series, have they ever had an evil doppelganger Ash?
They did have, wasn't it? Or was I thinking of Ball? Might have been Ball last year.
Did Ball impersonate Ash?
I think at one point Ball did impersonate Ash. He definitely fought a doppelganger of himself last season.
Okay, well then maybe it is time.
And that was a long one.
Okay, so maybe they didn't want to repeat themselves, and so they do just want to blast this.
Right?
kid
Remember,
away.
he's like, "Well, that's all right because I know I've got a bad knee." Boom, and then he hits the other Ash in the knee.
Oh, right, that's a good call.
Yeah.
So, in other words, maybe we should be glad that this is over and we don't have a repeat from last year.
I mean, I guess, but it still seems like we've got 2 chainsaws. This fight involved the chainsaw last year, but I still would like to see a little bit more, simply because in other times when we've had Ash fight himself, there wasn't all this kind of build-up for it.
Yeah,
we had a lot of build-up for this for Ashy Nashy.
Right. Well, once again, he was born, I believe, in the 2nd episode, died in the 7th.
R.I.P. Ashy
R.I.P. Nashy. Xerox Ash. Can you go to Xerox and get a refund and say, hey, this copy didn't end up meeting him? Yeah, a smudge right where his head should be. Ouch. Ruby is so frustrated. She's so angry.
And once again, they do a great job with Ruby with guts hanging out.
Yeah, but she is. She's like, I spent 100 years planning this. Plus, I spent 2 years in this damn high school. Everything. And yet you were willing to destroy my plans. Ruby, she should be frustrated. Maybe we as viewers should be frustrated that the plans are foiled. Ruby can't take it anymore. And so Brandy seemingly gets in the way of that dagger on purpose, Catfish.
Oh, she's going to save Ashy, Slashy, also known as Dad, because of the long, deep relationship they've had.
Yeah, this is why you have kids, so they can save you. Say you lose a kidney or something, you're like, kid, give it to me. Let's hope Brandy's an organ donor, because Ash is a drunk. He's probably going to need some new livers.
Wow. That is a good point.
Now, we can't enjoy/mourn Brandy too long. Why? Because we were immediately brought to the Upside Down. What did you think of what I'm calling the Upside Down, Catfish, this layer?
It seems pretty cool, but I'm going to hold judgment on it. It seems as if, now we've got, 3 episodes, so we think we're going to spend 2 episodes down here. We're just going to burn through it. We'll go through it in 1 episode.
This extra realm?
Yeah.
I think, you're going to definitely spend at least 1 episode there. But is it possible trying to get Brandy and Kelly and possibly anybody else out of this evil realm, they release even more evil out into the world? I would assume that's the way it's most likely going to go.
Good, let's do it. More evil.
And that's the episode, Catfish. 8 out of 10, so you were still high on it. We feel like we've attacked this episode so much. Why don't you go with the positives that got you 8 out of 10?
Well, the positives were I loved the whole hack and slash. One thing we saw just as we were going here during the scene when Ruby is talking to the real Ash, and they flash to some kids screaming with blood all over their faces. So that part was fun. It just was a gonzo, and in the end, sorry, I won't say anymore. But we said any bad things. It was fun, and we don't have to deal with Brandy ever questioning Ash again, and we're going to go to a new area, which we've never been to before in the entire Ash vs. Evil Dead series. And so this is a big deal. We're taking the fight to them.
Right, we're going to enter the Rift. We talked about all the Rift. It was just, last week when a Knight of Sumerian tried to enter the Rift. I don't know if this is a different Rift or where he went, but we are going to get into it, and we are going to jump in and see if we can save the characters we do love, like Kelly, and the characters you don't seem to be too fond of, like Brandy.
Right, and so next week's episode is Season 3, Episode 8. It's called Rifting Apart. Ha 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 ha. You get that? Rifting apart?
No. Oh, instead drifting apart.
Yeah, see? All right, so, but before we go, we always have to have our court case, which is Ash versus Evil Dead versus Bubba Catfish, except we take Ash versus Evil Dead out of it, and it's just Bubba and Catfish do a court case.
Right, the true battlers.
So before we do this week's court case, we have to get feedback on last week's court case. As you know, this has been quite a challenging season. There's been paternity questions. There's been a lot of brouhaha in the court. But for last week,
a lot of brouhaha about the brujo.
Right. Pat Spinagle says, "Here's my vote on this week's Bubba versus Catfish. The name Zoe means life. So this lovely Knight of Samaria will outlive Catfish's doomy, gloomy prediction. I say she'll see episode 10.
Whoa, so that's further than me.
That's representative of the votes we got. So you won last week's court case.
Love it. Well, we're recording early, so other people who wanted to get their feedback in, even about this episode 7, sorry you missed your chance. Go to our Facebook page, facebook.com/double P podcasts, and let us know, because 3 episodes left. And then the 4th.
Yeah, and then the 4th one. Well, this week's court case is an interesting one.
Oh, no.
It's almost as heavy as the Scopes trial as far as the depth and breadth of it. Because the question this week is...
I don't use Scopes. I use Listerine.
Nice.
Okay.
That would Ashy Nashy have grown up to be as cool and as a wise ass as Ashy Slashy? In other words, what is more important than the makeup of Ash? Nature or nurture?
All rise. The case of Ashy Nashy's lost potential and to be a cool Brujo, Cool El Jefe, versus his chance to keep being a mama's boy to Ruby. Nature versus nurture. Entering the courtroom, Prosecutor Catfish and Defense Attorney Bubba. Prosecutor Catfish, state your case.
Thank you, Your Honor. I am privileged to be part of a court case that will have such wide-reaching repercussions. Because, Your Honor, this question, nature versus nurture, has been bandied about for years and years, Your Honor. Some people think that your environment has more to do with how you grow up, and other people think it has more to do with your genes and kind of what's in you. That determines your personality. So, Your Honor, I think this is a perfect test case to prove this once and for all. So the people listening, our loyal listeners, when they decide on this case, they won't just be deciding for Ash versus Evil Dead. They'll be deciding it, Your Honor, for all of humanity and also all of demonity.
Oh, wow.
So, wow, I like I got that response out of you, Judge. I say, Your Honor, that the problem is with this Ashy Nashy, he hasn't been around very much. Even though he's an older body, his personality has not developed. And I would say that even Ash himself was sort of innocent and questioning when he was younger. Even when you see him in the first movie, Your Honor, he seems to have sort of an innocence to him. And it's not until he's experienced all this blood and destruction and demons that he becomes the Ash we know today. So, Your Honor, even though it appears that Ashy Nashy,
yes,
is not going to be anywhere like Ashy Slashy.
Mm-hmm.
He just hasn't had the experiences yet. But I say that his personality is inherent in that. So, Your Honor, so even though it sounds like I'm arguing one way, I'm actually saying, Your Honor.
It doesn't just sound like it. You have been arguing one way.
Your Honor.
Prosecutor Catfish.
Your Honor, I'm pulling a switcheroo and I'm saying that it is nature, Your Honor. Nature determines the person.
Not nurture.
No, but what would cause you to believe that it was nurture, Your Honor?
Well, I believe that's
nature.
Defense Attorney Bubba's case there, Catfish.
All right, well, let's hear Defense Attorney Bubba trying to argue it. I don't even think he could find
Your Honor,
any words to use.
Defense Attorney Bubba. Yes, Your Honor. I would love to just repeat Prosecutor Catfish's case back to him. But sadly, stenographer Gladys has been given all this time off, and so I can't just read back his words because I thought he made a great case for nurture over nature. Your Honor, let's look at the world that Ashley J. Williams was nurtured in. He was raised by a father known to be rude, crude, and one slick dude. Somebody who liked getting busy in bowling alleys. Somebody who liked running down rundown hardware stores. Ash and his sister lived in, let's just call it what it is, the slums of Elk Meadow, Michigan.
Elk Grove,
Michigan, Your Honor. Look at that house. These children were raised to have low expectations. And because of that, what did they have? Low IQs. Compare that to Ashy Nashy, a.k.a. Xerox Ash, someone who didn't just not partake in drugs, but actually spoke out against the evilness that drugs harm our society, Your Honor. Ashy Nashy / Xerox Ash, he was a disciplinarian who liked to follow rules and punish students for breaking rules, while Ashley J. Williams, a.k.a. drugged out goof-off, Slacker Ash, was planting those drugs on the very school. They are biologically identical, Your Honor, yet one was raised with a good nurturing parent, Ruby, who taught him many positives and one big negative about murder. We will ignore that, but many positives. Ash J. Williams, raised by what can only be described as a man with a $6 million body and a 6-cent brain, ended up goofy, silly, stupid, and causing all the trouble that has affected Elk Point, Michigan,
Your Honor,
this year.
If I could just rebut
Nurture wins out, Your Honor.
Your Honor, how does this explain, Your Honor, that Catfish Jr., the lovely child I've had with Gladys, who hasn't allowed me any time with him. How does it explain that he's already started to do his own podcast, Your Honor? That's nature.
No, Your Honor, that is nurture. Because Gladys brought him and allowed him to do a podcast. And so, therefore, Sweet Sugar Catfish Jr. has been nurtured to do this. It isn't in his nature. Your Honor, the defense attorney wants to bring in Sugar Catfish.
This is highly illogical and unusual.
Your Honor, I'm demanding that it happen. Bailiff Rusty, it's me, Bailiff Rusty. Rusty, go get baby Sugar Catfish, and let's bring him in here, and we'll see if it's nature or nurture which has affected this poor boy the best. My name is Baby Sugar Catfish Jr. I didn't spend any time with my dad at all. He didn't nurture me at all.
But you're still doing podcasts, aren't you, son? Nature.
Nurture, Baby Sugar Catfish Jr. Why are you doing those podcasts? Because my mommy told me that doing podcasts was a way I could connect with my dad, who had been ignoring me all this time. She said if you try to pretend to be interested in the things she's interested in, then maybe he'll pay alimony and child support. Your Honor, that isn't nature versus nurture. That is a boy who's been nurtured by a loving mom to reach out to a hating father. Is there anything else you need? No. Baby Sugar Catfish Jr. You have been such an inspiration to all of us that I think your nature is good. But I think you've been nurtured by a sweet, sweet woman. Did someone mention me? Stenographer Gladys? Stenographer Gladys, what are you doing here?
This is getting ridiculous.
It's me, Billy. We know you're here too, Rusty. Your Honor, this family drama, which is played out on Ash vs. Evil Dead, has proven one thing, and one thing only.
That nobody likes family drama?
Nobody likes family drama. We didn't come here for a family drama. But if Ash J. Williams had been nurtured differently, even by Pablo's family, good old Uncle Jefe.
Uncle Brujo?
Uncle Brujo, there in Elk Point, Michigan. Elk Grove, Michigan, has proven one thing, Your Honor. Nurture wins. And I would like to quote acclaimed scientist, mathematician, Ian Malcolm, who said, "Nurture finds a way." The defense rests, Your Honor.
Prosecutor Catfish, are you resting the prosecution's case?
Your Honor, I've been browbeat into submission.
What do you mean, Catfish?
Well, it's in my nature to be weak, and so I'm weak, Your Honor.
Uh-oh. I smell a trap, Your Honor. This is some sort of legalese trap, and I won't fall victim to it.
Order in my court. These cases have been so ridiculous this season. There's only one group of people, the Ghost Beater Jury. You Ghost Beater juries can go to the Facebook page, facebook.com/double P podcast. That's the word double, the single letter, the letter P, then the word podcast, plural, podcasts. Facebook.com/double P podcast, and pick a verdict. In this case, the court closes.
Wow.
Oh, my God.
Wow, what a case. What a case. I can only hope that Pat Man likes nature.
I was going to say, I can only hope anyone can understand what any of those cases were about. Nature versus nurture. What do you really think? Listeners, we really do want to know this. Let's get crazy for a minute.
All right,
what do you really think? What do you really think, Catfish? You think it's nature or you think it's nurture?
You see kids and they have like a personality, like right out of the gate. They have a personality, and so I think that's part of it. I think nature is more, but obviously you put someone in a good position, they'll flourish, and you put them in a bad position, they'll either overcome or they'll be oppressed by it. So I think it's mostly nature, but it's both.
Yeah, I mean, you take a kid and put him like in a rich family, like the Trump family, and then they'll... Oh, wait a minute.
Oh, boy.
Let us know, listeners. My name's Bubba. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, and YouTube at Fit and Trim. That's FITTENTRIM at Fit and Trim on those social media platforms.
And I am Catfish. You can hit me up at CJGman67. And next week, rift apart.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, it'll be season 3, episode 8, and we'll talk to you on
Ash.
versus
Evil Dead.
versus
Bubba.
versus
Catfish.
no Catfish.
Oh, sorry. Catfish.
Groovy, baby.
R.I.P. Kooky.